Today's video, I'm going to be giving you the easiest to understand explanation of the law of assumption. And I'm going to be using these strings of assumption to help you better understand what it is, where you could be making the mistake, and how you can apply the power of this law to your life. So let's get started. So with the law of assumption, an assumption means anything you give permission or consent to be true about you, about how other people are going to treat you, about what kind of life you deserve. You're going to find that in life. You give it permission and consent, it's an assumption about yourself, and that is what is going to be your life. Neville Goddard was huge when it comes to your level of consciousness, also known as basically the group of your assumptions comprising your consciousness level, is going to get expressed in your outside world. Another way to say this is that your current life circumstances are simply your assumptions animated in your outside world. What is happening inside your deep unconscious assumptions that you believe to be true, you believe to be true, that does not mean they're objectively true. That is what you're going to find in your life. Now, if you've been trying to implement this law and you've been finding it not successful or not real, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It means that the level of your understanding, the depth of your assumption might be limited. All right, so why talk about it when I can show you? So these are going to be my assumptions. They're connected to me, if you can see this string, and now I'm going to show you how they work. Now, if I have been affirming, or if I'm telling myself, I assume that I'm worthy of a secure, loving relationship. I assume that I am valuable, right? Thinking about abundance, or that everything's good, all is well, and I can experience that peace, right? So on the screen, I'm going to have right now what my inner assumptions would be, even if they're unconscious. Realize that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my assumption connected to me, and I'm going to put it over. I assume that I'm peaceful. I assume that I'm worthy of love. Oh, nothing's happening. I assume that I'm abundant. Nope. Now I'm going to put it over oh, look, I have attracted, or I've connected with rejection, right? Because it's connecting with the deep unconscious assumption that I have. So, okay, maybe I have another one, and we do the same thing, right? Peace, love. Okay, I want abundance, secure, loving relationship, but it's connecting to the not chosen. So you can see that these are energetically connected to me because I am the source of the assumption. And the sources of these assumptions most likely date back to my childhood about how I was perceived in value, how I was treated, if my needs weren't met, how people talk to me, and also too what I perceived from adults about myself, from these people their job was to take care of me. If they fell short, I would think, oh, I must be the issue. If I was worthy, then they would have met my needs. They would have chosen me, right? Or they would have accepted me. But if I had emotional abandonment, I'm going to be way more likely to think it was because of my worth, meaning that unconsciously, I keep finding people, circumstances, and situations that align. I'm magnetically, energetically connecting to these because of me. That also means that the other assumptions that you would like to experience, or the other circumstances you'd like to experience, they exist right now. Okay, they exist right now, but you're not able to perceive of them with your senses, meaning that because you keep getting the rejection, because you get not chosen, because there's just perpetual lack, you think, oh my God, how in the world would I ever get abundance if I keep finding lack? You keep thinking that this is your actual value, right? If we're going to come over here, oh, that's all I am. Because also too, you got to understand the only reason you're connecting with this is because somebody else outside of you treated you this way. That's one person's opinion. That's one person's situation. I don't know what happened. I don't know the wounds of your caregivers. Whatever way you were treated, it is not a reflection of your true worth. It is a reflection of how they treated you. So it creates a set point, right? Your self-concept. And you keep finding it over and over and over and over and over again. And you connect with it and you're like, there's no way I would ever be able to find a secure relationship. Who's going to love me? You're relating to yourself through the rejection and through the not being chosen, which is from somebody else's opinion early on. As you start to see this, you'll be able to then start to pull these assumptions out, right? And say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I am the source. These assumptions These assumptions are coming from me, and I can actually change them. Now, if I'm thinking of abundance but still keep feeling energetically the emotions of lack, I'm going to stay in lack. So I've got to start practicing in my body. I got to start going back to past experiences and re-reasoning on them. Seeing that memory from a different perspective. Meaning that if your caregiver emotionally abandoned you, meaning that you were hanging out and everything was good, and maybe they got stressed out. Maybe they had a lot of family shit. So they would kind of just go in outer space. And you're like, hey, mom, dad, you want to do this? And they, yeah, no, I don't have time for that. And they snap at you and you're like, whoa, I must have done something wrong. If you can take your adult mind right now, go back to that memory and realize, wow, I deserve love and affection. I just wanted to connect. I was a little kid wanting to love, but that caregiver, they were overwhelmed emotionally. That had nothing to do with my worth. They couldn't see clearly right there because they were having a situation of who knows what. We're not trying to justify or relate to them that was okay for your treatment. You're trying to peel off that treatment was any kind of reflection of what you deserved. And the more and more you do that, the more and more you go back to that memory, the more you can start changing these. And then once you start doing that and you release those old beliefs, you actually will raise up in a vibrational frequency. You can update your assumptions. And when you do that, you take your little string and you're going around, you're like, oh, okay. So those lack situations, you don't resonate there. Energetically, you're sending out a different frequency. You're on a different channel. If you're on a oldie station and you turn the dial and now it's a pop channel, well, you're not going to hear the same things. You'll actually, in your senses, be able to pick up of different things. Okay, wow, these assumption cards are really getting torn up here. So you're going and boom. You literally have now a connection to abundance because your assumptions changed based on your perception of yourself growing up. Any kind of limiting bullshit from other people as you were going through your developmental crucial years, you let go of and you upgrade. It's the same as you don't have the first cell phone you ever had. You had to update, you had to upgrade. The same happens when you upgrade and update and use your adult mind to shift your perspective and automatically let go of shit that wasn't and isn't yours. So you can go over and you go to the rejection, nope, okay, boom, wow. You start connecting energetically. I mean, look at this, no matter what I do, I am connecting there. It's coming back. Why? Because I am actually the source of these assumptions. I get to change them and adapt and adjust according to razzle dazzle, according to what I desire and what kind of life I want. But if I keep living based on the lens of my childhood, specifically if there was some relational trauma going on, I will not be able to be on this channel because these assumptions will be in alignment with lack. Because they're going to reflect back, I'm not good enough. They won't resonate. They're not on the same frequency. So the more and more you realize that whatever your current life is expressing, whatever's happening in your outside world, don't use it as the end. Don't use it as a reflection of your worth. Realize it's only reflecting your perception of your value, your perception of your worth and what you deserve. And start to ask, where does that come from? Why would I grow up thinking that I wasn't worthy? Who taught me that? You were not born into a situation in your self-concept thinking, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. You picked it up. It was something you learned, which means you can unlearn it. And when you understand that your deep unconscious assumptions, you will always manifest. When you become aware of them, first step. A big part of this is going to be looking at your outside world right now, not as an indicator of your worth, but as a reflection of what must you believe deep and down inside of you. And who taught you that? As you learn that, you can let it go. When you let it go, you can step into assumptions that are in alignment with your true worth, which is to live peacefully, right? Which is to have this abundance. And the more you realize that that origin comes from you and you can, until you change your inner world, you cannot connect with anything different outside of you. Changing and recalibrating that frequency, thoughts and feelings, your electromagnetic signature, this is how you select it from the quantum field. That's according to Dr. Joe Dispenza. The more and more you do this, the more you can radically change your life. The law of assumption is an incredibly powerful tool you can use to radically shift your life towards that which you want and you desire. Understanding how the law of assumption works is life-changing. This next video right here is going to help give you more understanding of how you can continually change your self-concept steps so that you can create the life you love and that you deserve. I love y'all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.